I wasn't expecting this, but we apparently got a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime after just 2 years of 7s in the Dimension Force Yu-Gi-Oh stream. And considering that they announced that the voice actor of Jack was going to be in this stream, I thought there's going to be more Jack Atlas support, but apparently we got more Yuri support from Arc 5. So let's begin! So first off, to the new Yu-Gi-Oh anime, it's called Yu-Gi-Oh! Go Rush. Yes, it will be Rush Duel. I personally don't really care too much about Rush Duels, but Konami can target whatever audience they want. In many ways, this is actually an actual sequel to Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s because this actually takes place years ahead from the future of Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. So it starts on April 2022, same team that made Yu-Gi-Oh! 7, so that kind of confirms that Yu-Gi-Oh! 7 is going to end. And the plot is Odo Yuhi and Odo Yuamu are elementary schooler twins in Matsuba Town, the same town where Asuna is, if you watch the anime, who are in charge of an alien extermination company, the UTS, or the Alien Trouble Consultancy. They spend their days working really hard searching for aliens using mysterious devices created by Yuhi, that is, into that one fateful day. Right after they created the Mystery School Club, they finally found a real spaceship, and inside it, they made contact with Udius, that's gonna be the main protagonist, an alien from a distant Velgar star cluster. Now it's time to enter a new stage of Rush Duel introduced by this alien soldier from far ends of the galaxy. Let's go Rush. So, card games in space. If there's aliens in outer space, let's teach them how to duel. So our protagonist is Udius Valgir. He has U in the name, so obviously he's going to be the protagonist. An alien from Velgir star cluster from the far side of the galaxy. He was chased out of his home due to a long struggle and came to Earth after hearing about Rush Duels, which lead to his friends and comrades to a new future. He's a beginner in Rush Duels and uses a new type called Galaxy type, a new type of monster never seen before. And then we go to Odo Yuhi. Keep in mind, Odo is the surname of the current protagonist, Odo Yuga, possible descendant or even his kids. A 5th grader who loves Rush Duels, he believes an alien stole a mysterious substance from him called Earthgamma. So he's been searching far wide from the galaxies for aliens to get it back. He's good with working and tinkering with machines, so basically possible father and son, and has invented a variety of types of items to catch aliens. His Dex Ace monster is Machine. To his twin sister, Odo Yamu, which is Yuhi's twin sister. She's the president of the UTS, which specializes of creating some troublesome aliens. She uses Yuhi's passion towards aliens for the sake of her company. I mean, the Odo family seems to be very smart, so I was expecting them to be an entrepreneur one of these days. And her ace is a powerful dragon, and is apparently stronger than Yuhi. And then to the possible main rival, Suijo. And I only say that because he's also an alien. He was once a warrior fighting for the Valgar Star Cluster, serving as Udius' senior officer. He got involved in a battle at a certain battlefield, and his fate remains unknown, but has suddenly appeared to Earth in Matsuba Town in front of Udius. He looks interested in Rush Duels just like Udius, but what's his real goal? So based on all these descriptions of each character, it would seem like the Odo family is gonna be like mentor to the aliens, and considering that the aliens look like adults or grown teenagers, this is starting to give me some mix of Zexal and 5D vibes. And I don't mind that, and I do like Zexal personally because the characters actually grow. If our main 2 aliens do suck at the beginning, it means that they will have time to grow as characters, and they will get stronger over time with dueling. And then here are some of Udius's ace monsters. Most likely the dragon is going to be his main ace because anything dragon looking is usually the main ace. And then here's Johi's main ace. Not sure if they're going to follow the 2500 attack ace monster for protagonist with 3000 attack rival, because Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s didn't do that. They have a 21 and a 25, so they might actually do that here as well. And now to the Dimension 4 stuff. Here's the main highlight card, Psycho and Punisher. It's a level 11 light psychic synchro with 3500 in defense, generic summoning condition, and Suffectus. While your light points are equal or less than your opponent, this synchro summon card is unaffected by your opponent's activated effects. Not bad if you're losing, especially for psychics where you're going to be manipulating your light points a lot. And speaking of manipulating your light points, second effect. Once per turn, you can pay 1000 light points, then target one monster you control and one card your opponent controls, banish those targets. Not too bad. Third effect. At the start of your battle phase, you can make this card gain attacks equal to the difference between both players' life points. Like I said, psychics tend to want to manipulate your own life points because that's how you get stronger. But this is also not a bad card while you're losing, because if you have lower life points, this is actually stronger. So overall, it's a pretty nice generic synchro. And now to some supports for Grand Creator archetypes. Our first card is Illegal Knight. It's a level 7 Dark Fiend with 2000 attack and defense, and its effect is during your main phase, if you control no monsters or you control adventure tokens, quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. I mean, any type of extending plays is always good. Second effect, if you control an adventure token, quick effect, you can target up to 2 cards your opponent controls, give control of this card to your opponent, and if you do, return those 2 cards to their hand. Each effect is hard once per turn. I mean, it's not too bad, you do minus 1 card on your opponent, although I just don't like switching controls, but considering that this only has 2000 attack, it's actually not too hard to run over this. So this is fine with me. Next, Exosisters Magnifica. Rank 8 Light Warrior Exceed with 2800 attack and defense. Requires 2 rank 4 Ex-Sister monsters, and you must Exceed summon this card this way. And its effect is that you can make 2 attacks each turn with this card each battle phase. Second effect, once per turn, quick effect, you can detach 1 material from this card, banish 1 card your opponent controls, not bad. Third effect, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can return 1 Exceed monster attached to this card to the extra deck, then special summon that monster using this card as material. This is treated as Exceed summon, and of course you transfer the materials to that card. So this is overall not bad. You can play a beatdown with it with 2 attacks each turn, which makes sense because the 2 sisters are here, so 2 for 2 attacks. The quick effect banish isn't bad, and also you can dodge effects with this, and sometimes even the rank 4 can be much more useful than this, because this is only meant to be beatdown basically. But overall it's not a bad card. Finally, No Punk Dia Note. It's a level 5 Earth Warrior with 2100 attack, 1800 defense, and its effect is, you can reveal 1 other Punk monster from your hand, special summon this card or the revealed card, if you do, send the other card to the graveyard. Any type of extended play must be played. Second effect, if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can target 1 Punk monster from your graveyard, except a level 5, and special summon it. But you cannot special summon any card with his name for the rest of the turn, and each effect is hard once per turn. So basically, it's an extender. It can special summon itself for 1, and you don't even need to special summon it if you don't want to. And considering that this is a synchro based deck, well, if you use this as material, you just extended your plays. So must play in punks. Next, for a generic Pendulum card, even though it's more Pendulum Magician, Beyond the Pendulum. It's a Link 2, bottom left and bottom right, Dark Spellcaster with 1200 attack. Requires 2 effect monsters, including a Pendulum monster. And its effect is, if this card's Link summoned to the extra monster zone, you can pay 1200 life points and then add 1 Pendulum monster from your deck to your hand. But after that, until the end of the turn, you cannot activate any monster effects or Pendulum effects until you perform a Pendulum summon. Not bad with the search, and the negate effect is a little hindrance sometimes, but it's not too much restricted to many Pendulum decks. But anyway, second effect. If you Pendulum summon 2 monsters with different original levels at the same time to where this card points to, you can target 2 cards on field and destroy them. This effect is hard once per turn. Destruction is not bad at all, especially because you're minusing 2 cards on your opponent, or you could even destroy your own Pendulum scales just for more plays. A lot of things you can do with this second effect. So overall, this is a very nice generic Pendulum card, and I say you should play it. And finally, for the new cards for Yuri. I'm glad that we did not have to wait this long. Our first card is Predaplant Triantis. It's a level 8 Dark Plant Pendulum monster with 2400 attack and 1000 defense. It has a Pendulum scale of 8, and its Pendulum effect is that you can use cards from your Pendulum zone as materials for a fusion summon of a Dark Fusion monster as they were monsters on the field. That matters because mainly Starve Venom, as that's your main ace monster for Predator plants, and having extra waste for materials is always nice. And into the monster effect. If this card is used for material for a fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or put to the extra deck face up, you can place 1 Predator counter on each monster on the field up to the number of monsters you control. And any of those monsters with Predator counters become level 1. Just a reminder, Predator plants rely on those Predator counters, so that for Predator plants isn't bad at all. But what I say nice about this card is the Pendulum effect. And the Pendulum scale of 8 isn't bad either because you do have Starve Venom Dragon. And then for our other new Pendulum monster, Predaplant Buffalicula, which is a level 1 Dark Plant Pendulum monster with 0 attack and defense, Pendulum scale of 0, and its effect is, Pendulum effect. During your main phase, you can fusion summon one dark fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion materials. This effect is a hard once per turn. A pendulum effect that is a poly for dark fusion monsters. Yeah, I could see this card becoming an engine, and it's mainly just for this effect alone. And keep in mind, this is still Dark Pendulum, meaning that you can use it for Starve Venom. And comboing it with the other Predaplant Pendulum monster that lets you use your Pendulum Zone monsters as materials, this is definitely good for that deck as well. But its monster effect is that if this card is used for fusion material for fusion summon and sent to the graveyard or placed face up at the extra deck, you can target one Dark Pendulum monster from your extra deck, except itself, and add it to your hand. This effect is a hard once per turn. So are you telling me that this is pretty much generic for Dark Pendulum decks? Well, I guess you could play this in your Pendulum deck as well for Odd Eyes Pendulum, but for Predaplants this is overall really good. It's a poly for a Pendulum effect, and also it can extend plays because of its monster effect, so it's a must play for Predaplants. Next, Predaplant by Blips. It's a level 1 Dark Plant with 0 attack, 1900 defense, and its effect is, if this card is sent to the graveyard, you can add one Predaplant monster from your deck to your hand, except itself. You're going to be using this for a fusion summon a lot. You could just Foolish Burial this card. There's many ways to send this to the graveyard, so yeah, you must play this. Second effect, if there's a monster with a Predator counter on the field, you can special summon this card from the graveyard but banish it when it leaves the field. And each effect is a hard once per turn. So this is pretty much a play extender. Sent to the graveyard in any way, you search for a Predaplant. If there's a Predator counter while this card's in the graveyard, which is very likely, well, you're going to special summon this card, so meaning it's another material for another play. So this is a must play. And then to the fusions, we start off with Predaplant Abulo Melodious. Probably butchered the name, but it's a level 5 Dark Plant fusion with 1000 attack, 2500 defense, requires 2 Predaplant monsters, and its effect is, if this card's fusion summon, you can add one Predaplant card from your deck, graveyard, or face up from the extra deck to your hand. Definitely pretty good. Second effect, you can target one monster your opponent controls with a Predator counter or one monster you control, tribute it. If you do, special summon one Predaplant monster from your deck, and each effect is hard once per turn. Tributing your opponent's monster is very nice, and I really like that, but overall this is much more of a play extender because first effect searches for something, and then second effect gets you another monster. And any type of play extension must be played, so obviously you run this. Finally, to the new form of Starve Venom, Starve Venom Predator Fusion Dragon. It's a level 10 Dark Dragon Fusion monster with 3600 attack with 2500 defense, requires one Dark Fusion monster and one Fusion monster. It's treated as a Predator Plant card, makes sense since Starve Venom is the main ace for Predator Plants, and its effect is, once per turn when a card or effect is activated, you can tribute one monster with a Predator counter on the field, and if you do, negate it. I mean, it would be funny to tribute your opponent's monsters just to negate their effects, but I would have liked it if it says you can also tribute your own monsters as well to negate effects, because that's kind of a little hindrance right there. But it's not too bad. But second effect is that, if this fusion summon card is sent to the graveyard by your opponent, you can target one dark monster in your graveyard and special summon it. This effect is a hard once per turn. Keep in mind it says any dark monster, and since this card is sent to the graveyard to activate this effect, you could special summon it back. Overall, I'm not going to say this is amazing or anything. Yes, you can use your opponent's monster to negate effects, which is pretty nice, and you could resurrect itself at least one time or any other dark monster. And in many cases, I would rather resurrect the Greedy Venom if it's in your graveyard, because Greedy Venom is way better than this. But overall, it's a pretty cool card. It has a little difficult summoning condition, so I'm not going to say it's really worth summoning this, in comparison where you could just summon Greedy Venom, which is probably much better. But overall, it's okay. So that's it for this Yu-Gi-Oh! Stream for Dimension Force. What do you guys think about the new Predator Plants along with the Starve Venom, along with the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime? New Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime was not expected because it's only been 2 years, but either way, I don't mind it, especially it's connected to Yu-Gi-Oh! 7s. As for the new Predator Plants, the new support is pretty good. The Starve Venom is pretty underwhelming for its summoning condition, but I was kinda expecting that considering that Crystal Clearing was kinda the same thing. And now with the 4 Dimension Dragons all having their new forms revealed, is it possible that we might get a new version of Zarc with more Supreme King support? I would say Supreme King does desperately need more support, but we probably don't need a new version of Zarc. Yes, we could go his Breaking Limit form or something, but I would like a definitive playstyle for Supreme Kings. But I don't really expect it because antagonist archetypes usually get overshadowed. But on that, see you all next time.